Welcome to the world today. I'm Waqas Majeed. Today we're talking about a warning that has been given by Iran to Pakistan of the presence of Islamic State militants along the Pakistan-Afghanistan border. A very worrying and new development that is taking place. We'll talk about this in detail. And our second topic is regarding climate change and how climate change is impacting Pakistan. Water scarcity is a major issue. We're also talking about what needs to be done to mitigate this issue. We have the water policy that was announced recently, and we'll discuss all the other aspects of this very, very important issue that is confronting Pakistan and this region in particular. Let's get the conversation started. I'd like to introduce my guests in the studio. Joining me for the conversation today, first of all, we have Brigadier Ihsan Shah with us, and joining him, we have Yasir Masood. Thank you very much, sir, for being here. Sir, first of all, this warning that Iran has given Pakistan, how seriously should we be taking this warning? And also the fact that the Iranians have mentioned that the IS fighters are being moved from Syria and other places in Afghanistan closer to the Pak-Afghan border with some negative implications for Pakistan's security. How do you see this development, sir?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I think this is not a new development because the presence of Daesh was already there in Afghanistan a couple of years ago also. And if you remember, Muhammad al-Adnani, who announced from the IS side that Hafiz Muhammad Saeed, he is the governor of IS for the Khorasan area, IS Khorasan. And he was, there is another man who was from Helmand, from Afghanistan. He was made deputy governor of the Khorasan chapter, so far IS is concerned. For your information, Daesh is not the only presence in Afghanistan. I will come to this point a bit later, but tell me facts about the area in Afghanistan and those elements who are present, and they are creating problems inside Afghanistan for the region. I was reading the Afghan intelligence agency's report that 21 terrorist organizations are present inside Afghanistan at the moment, in which IS is one of that element. Most dominating is the Afghan Taliban. And Afghan Taliban, their specification is this, that they are inclined more towards Afghanistan, or they are inside. Rest all of the organizations are for the region, or they are directed towards their objective is strategic. It is not inside Afghanistan. I will tell you that this IS, which was previously in Levant, Iraq and Sham, now because the reversals in Syria and because of the mission which is accomplished or not being accomplished inside Iraq, they are on the run because Hafiz al-Assad and those pro-element Bashar al-Assad group, which is dominating mostly Syria now, the IS is continuously on the run. And there is a complex situation inside Syria that on one side, US is fighting Daesh inside Syria, and on the other side, what is being done that they are against the Bashar al-Assad government also. Now the dynamics inside Afghanistan are that all those groups who are present inside Afghanistan, they are creating troubles for the region, including this IS. It is a new dimension in Afghanistan. But there are groups which are fighting against Uzbekistan, which is a threat for Tajikistan also, and all the Central Asian states. And in this, the addition of Daesh is another dynamic. The second is, there are groups from the Turkestan, East Turkestan movement who are destabilizing China. And there are elements now who are destabilizing Iran also, because Daesh is, you know the dimensions of Daesh, they are ethnic wise and religious wise, they are anti-Iran. And in Pakistan, there is specific interest of Daesh groups in Pakistan to destabilize and relocate and re-establish themselves in those areas which are being vacated from Taliban. Now, what is Why America is doing that? Number one, that Pakistan army and people have defeated the terrorist elements inside FATA, and now alhamdulillah FATA is being integrated with KP. So that is another good sign. And the second thing is that America is not achieving its desired result inside Afghanistan. So now what they are doing, on one side they are blaming Pakistan, that Pakistan has given safe haven to the Haqqani and network who are fighting against the Afghanistan, against Afghan elements and American elements inside Afghanistan. So because Taliban are not interested to destabilize Pakistan, because they are Afghanistan oriented, and what America want, that they should destabilize Iran also from their doing, and they do something to destabilize and bring Pakistan also on their terms. Now this task is not being done by Taliban. The Afghan government is not also towing the American line. You have seen the improved working relation between Pakistan and Afghanistan, and Hanif Atmar led delegation who met yesterday with Chief of Pakistan Army, including Interior Minister and the Minister for NDS, the NDS Stanakzai, led by Stanakzai. They were also there with the chief inside and with the people in Pakistan, and they are working for their improved relation with Pakistan. So, but this reality is there, that American, because this question was raised in United Nations by the Russian ambassador, that there are reports that America is relocating the Daesh inside Afghanistan along with the border of Iran and Pakistan. And you must have seen a month before there was a clash in host area in this agency, Kuram agency, Parachinar. There was a clash between the locals and the people who came from Afghanistan side, and it was such a clash which I think was one of its bloodiest clash within the recent times. So the Pakistani intelligence found out that these were some of the people, Daesh elements, including those who had crossed the border, come inside Pakistan and created this trouble. So these are the signs which are raising the alarms that there is something which is going inside Afghanistan against Pakistan and Iran. And for that matter, the strategic designs of these people might be against Russia. That's why Russians are also alarming the bell that they are being relocated. And Iran is also alarming the bell that they are being relocated. And inside Pakistan, alhamdulillah, the world has seen that we have successfully defeated with our sacrifices on every front all these elements, and I am hopeful that these new foul designs will not succeed.
Inshallah, sir. When we talk about the reports that Pakistan has been given by the Iranians, they say, Yasir Saab, that Iran has credible intelligence reports that the US has relocated Daesh and its heads, along with the leader Abu Bakr Baghdadi, who we keep hearing reports have sometimes that he's dead, sometimes he's not dead. So it seems that he's alive and he is part of that group which has been moved closer to the Pakistani border. How does that going to play out in the coming days and weeks?
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Yes, Waqas, it's been very alarming because, as you just mentioned, that Baghdadi, and we keep on hearing about him, that about his relocation and whether and there are lots of rumors whether he is alive or dead. But as far as if Iranians have a credible intelligence report that he is alive and he's been relocated near the border of Pakistan and Afghanistan as well as Iran, so it's an alarming situation not only for Pakistan and also for Iran. That is why they're so much concerned that they have reached to the point that they're asking Pakistan to share intelligence sharing so that they can share the intelligence reports together so that they can work on that. And I tell you what, this has been repeatedly this has been coming on the different we have seen in different reports that US has been fueling and been supporting such elements of Daesh of late. And that is, to me, it's like quite a kind of juxtaposing policies of US inside Afghanistan. You see, on one side, they have been unable to wipe out, Talibanization there. But one view is that they're supporting these extremist elements like Daesh or IS inside Afghanistan because they want to overpower the presence of Talibanization inside
So are you saying that the Americans are using Daesh as proxy warriors in Afghanistan to battle the Taliban instead of using their own forces because they've pulled out most of them? So are you also saying that the trainers from the US are training Daesh fighters? What does that mean?
I'm not saying that, but these are different reports, and we have been, I have been reading such reports, and it's very conflicting, as I just mentioned, because you see there are also reports of Taliban that there are about 70% of territory inside Afghanistan is being occupied by them, and there are different reports that it's about 50 or 50 plus territory is, controlled by them. So it seems like they're panicked, because they cannot come out of this quagmire. They are stuck in there because they are looking for different options. One of the options, as just mentioned by my colleague, that they are pressurizing Pakistan as well, because US is looking for a way out. They're looking for an exit. But the execution of that exit, I must say, is not right, because if they are pressurizing Pakistan or if they're using these kinds of tactics, this is not the proper way, because you see it will create more proxy wars inside Afghanistan, and Afghanistan has been suffering a lot because of these wars. So what will happen? They will wipe off their hands and they will go from this region eventually, but they will leave Afghanistan again into a kind of situation where in the years to come they will be fighting, and Pakistan, including Iran and the other neighboring countries, will be fighting this war. So what I'm saying is that this is not the proper execution if they are using such kind of tactics, that they want to overpower Talibans just for the purpose that they are uncontrollable. So who made them uncontrollable in the first place? This is also a big question. And now if Daesh, they become uncontrollable, then it would lead to another kind of a turmoil in that region. So all in all, Iran is on the right track, because if they have this intelligence sharing, we also have this intelligence reports that if there is kind of if they are supporting such kind of elements there, we need to collaborate together, we need to work together, because at the end of the day we will suffer in this region. It's not the US. If they go out from here, so Afghanistan would be in turmoil, Afghanistan would be in chaos, but the direct and indirect consequences we will have to suffer and we will have to bear. So it's better that we work for it now rather than it would be too late.
Right. The officials, sir, I'm sorry to cut you, but you can answer the question, also add this to the answer, which is that according to the Iranian official, he informed the Pakistani authorities that the US and Israel intend to turn Pakistan and Iran into another Syria, Iraq, Libya, and Afghanistan. How do you view this statement, sir?
I think seeing the situation on ground, that you see in Islamic countries or in Middle East, you see Iraq had some power, which was a threat against Israel. Then it was followed by Libya. Libya was also a sizable power in the region. Economically, they were very strong. And now you see Egypt was also, but Egypt now they are in friendship treaty and in the Saudi camp, so that is not being considered as a threat to Israel. Syria is another power. But now Iran, what they are saying, they are correct in their perception. Iran is such a power which has an influence in the region. And if you see, when the Americans were withdrawing from the treaty, this giant treaty, what two conditions they laid before Iran. That first of all, you reduce the enrichment of uranium, you control it. And the second thing is, you cut your links with Hezbollah in Lebanon, which is fighting against Israel, which is a threat against Israel. Then you limit your links with Hamas in Palestine, and then you limit your links with Houthis, which are there in Yemen, and then they were asking them to cut your links with Taliban in Afghanistan. So when you connect all these dots, they are correct in their perception. And when Pakistan come into this quagmire, is because of the location of Daesh. Daesh is mostly located in Nangarhar province, which are adjacent to the Mahmand agency of Pakistan. And those are the safe havens which are being given intentionally to these people to work against their desired goals, which can come into the strategic designs. I don't want to come very openly. Now coming back to the point which we are discussing, initially the number of the Daesh is not more. They are not more in Helmand area and in Nangarhar area. They are not more than 3,000, 3 to 4,000. But since people are being brought, and they are those criminals also who are against Taliban and Pakistani security forces, and those who are against the corruption in Afghanistan. There is a lot of corruption inside the Afghan government, which is everywhere. But that is one of the elements of these people who are turning against the Afghan government. The unity government in Afghanistan, and it's the Ismail Khan, who was the previous governor of Herat in Taliban time also, and before that also, he has raised this question. And I was reading this report. If you are not correcting your directions, these Daesh and Taliban, they will prosper, because unity government is not giving to the people which they were expecting. How Taliban came on the surface? Because it was a reaction against the corruption and fighting in between the Afghan elements. So Taliban came onto the surface. And now if this unity government are not delivering, this Daesh element will come. Pakistan is coming into this because these areas are joining and they are adjacent, and it is easy for them to cross the border and create problem for Pakistan. That's why the worries are more inside Pakistan, that Daesh is going to be a threatening element inside Afghanistan. But what I am of the view, that there is a difference between Daesh and Taliban, a hell of difference. Number one, the intent of Daesh is, if you see from the name, it is Dawlat-e-Islamiyah in Syria and Iraq. So their direction is mostly towards that side. The second thing is, since they were controlling inside Mosul and all these areas who were minerally enriched, where this coal and crude oil, they were being produced from those areas. So it was easy for them to sustain themselves. But inside Afghanistan, without the support of Americans and the other financier, it will be very difficult for the Daesh to sustain. When this point comes, now there is a fighting which has started between Taliban and Daesh. In Nangarhar, there are minerals of talc, which is being used in so many domestic affairs, in creams, in powders, in paper, in this and that. And in Nangarhar, they have vacated those areas from the people and have got the control of those mineral-rich areas from which they can pump in the money. The second is, America is saying that these wars are being flourished on drug money, and the poppy, most cultivated poppy areas in Helmand. That's why their Naib Amir for Khorasan is from Helmand area, to gain control of that poppy cultivated area.
It's a very worrying situation, sir. Yasir, in your opinion, what are the steps that the Pakistani government needs to start taking, especially in the light of this particular threat, which has been a warning which has been given by Iran? What are the steps that we need to take?
Well, steps are very simple and straightforward, and we need to work upon that. Number one is that regional cooperation is very important. When we say that regional cooperation is important, we have to work closely with Iran, because it's a right time that if Iran is asking Pakistan, and both countries can help together and club together to work on this menace. Then when we say that regional cooperation is important, we also have to keep it in mind that regarding Afghanistan, the whole Central Asia, including Russia, is also very much concerned about its situation, because if there is growing extremism there, it can have its negative implications there as well. So in this multipolar world order, it is very important that we need to collaborate with different nations, and we need to work upon such issues. Like, for example, just lately, there was positive signs in SCO about the anti-terrorism policy. So these are different forums, multilateral forums, bilateral forums on which Pakistan can work to eliminate extremism and terrorism. On part of Pakistan, unilaterally, Pakistan has done a lot. But it's the time that we need to take help from the neighboring countries as well, because when we say that there are chaos inside Afghanistan, it is a common ground for everybody, for every country, and it will have its negative implications in the region, as I just mentioned. So Pakistan, strategically, Pakistan is very important. And then, as just mentioned by my colleague, that these elements are closer to us, closer to the border of Pakistan. So we will be suffering a lot because of this. So it's important that we need to work upon our diplomatic front, and we need to work upon, in a sense that we need to have more dialogues, more meetings with different neighboring countries, so that we can work upon these issues for good.
I will just jump in.
Sir,
Sorry,
sir,
but
please.
before answering your question,
Sir, please.
I will aid to what you asked from him. Pakistan, I think what Pakistan must do or should do. Number one, intelligence sharing. This is very important. And I think right steps have been taken in that direction. That we must share the intelligence about the relocation, about the camps, about the facilitators, about the financiers of all these things to each other. This is number one. Both the countries. And then to enlarge the size of this intelligence sharing, we must bring in this loop Iran, we must bring in this Russia, we must bring this in this even UAE, because Oman and UAE, they are also being threatened by them. And then China. These are the people and these are the agencies and countries which must sit together and share the intelligence with each other, and America also, because America is the watchdog here, America is the superpower there, America is fighting this war for whatever designs there, but maintaining the peace of the obvious reasons for which they are fighting as this. This is number one. The second is Pakistan must fence the border, which they are doing, and they must complete it very soon. They should relocate the money, and they must prioritize fencing of the border so that easy crossing. I was reading the report of the Nangarhar province governor, and he says that once we take those people, they go to the porous areas, they disintegrate there, they just they disappear, and we don't know where they have gone. And he was bringing points that they go across the border. Might be they come across, but who is responsible? We must border the. The third thing is that Pakistan must educate the people here. We have fought a long war. We have suffered $123 billion internationally. We have suffered demographically. We have given so many price in blood and kinds both. Now it is the right time. The region should sit together. The people should sit together, and our resources should be relocated to fight this menace.
And sir, I'll continue with this question with you, because as you just mentioned about the regional cooperation, which is a must to defeat Daesh's nefarious designs, which are across the whole region.
Which are regional.
Exactly, sir. Our erstwhile eastern neighbor, sir, India also has a very large Muslim population. Recently, we saw the meeting taking place between Jawad Zarif and Sushma Swaraj, and she had a few things to say. For example, after the American pullout of the Iran nuclear deal, there are sanctions that are now being imposed on Iran. Plus, we also see the cozying relationship between the Indians and the Americans. But still, Sushma Swaraj stood up and said that our country will not be dictated foreign policy by any third country. She also said that we will still buy oil from Iran as we did previously when Iran was under American sanctions. So why is it that we can't stand up and do such things as well, sir?
We need a courageous leadership in our country. We need the people who can stand up and look into the eyes of these people that enough is enough. And we should tighten our belts also. We should not. Now I was reading the report that we have taken this much money as a loan from the donors. How we will return this? This is number one. But I was very pleased. When your enemy is doing something good, you must appreciate. We are professionals. And when I was reading the statement by Sushma Swaraj that we will deal our dealings and affairs at the end through the lenses of the interest of the Indian interest, we will see and watch and deal through the Indian interest with foreign powers, she said. And I think she was correct, because their interests are involved. Trade interest, 12.9 billion trade is being done by India and Iran at the moment, where tilt is more towards Iran, because they are exporting 10 billion, around 10 billion.
So the major import by India from Iran is oil, and of
Crude
course,
oil.
absolutely, and subsequently the Indians are selling them goods.
But I think India has read, and I was reading in this report, so I think Sushma Swaraj, somebody, that America is thinking to bring Iran, to bring India against China, but they are miscalculating the power of Iran also, the China also, and India also. So there is some miscalculation in between, but I think this point is very clear that India will not buy the point of view of America when their own interests are involved. And not only India, you have seen the European Union also, you have seen those guarantors, France, Britain, and one other country, China, who are saying no, America can get out of this country, the nuclear deal country, from Iran, but we will continue trading and interacting Iran as per the treaty assignment.
Right, sir. Let's hope that continues. What coming days and weeks will tell us how that plans out. There's another aspect, sir. This report of the Americans supporting Daesh is not new. We've heard these reports a number of times. There have also been images on various media platforms provided of American vehicles being used to transport Daesh fighters. Afghanistan, Russia, Tajikistan, they have all expressed their concern over the alleged US backing of Daesh. Now, why can this issue, the alleged backing of the US for Daesh, be brought up in the United Nations Security Council, for example? Why is this issue not being taken up by the rest of the countries and say, okay, what is America really up to in the region? On the one hand, they say we are fighting Daesh and Daesh is a terrorist threat for the entire world, and then they're the ones who are supporting and funding them and providing them arms and ammunition. Can we please explain this?
Yes. You see, it's not only about Daesh, it's about, other parts of the world as well, whether, there is so much is happening over there. You see the misery, the fights, and the proxy wars are happening inside, whether it is in the Middle East, if we talk about Kashmir, if we talk about Palestine, and if we talk about this. So it's like a double paradox, I would say, that, look, on one side, we have been asking this question, and we have been saying through this platform, I personally have been asking this question and saying many a times that on one side, it's beyond us that what is the rationale of US stay, the longest US war of its history inside Afghanistan. So it's like, and the purpose is to promote peace over there. But it's happening the other way around. And as you just mentioned that, we will be the sufferer because of this. And you see what happened in the whole Middle East. There was a time when the whole Middle East, this was strategically divided into two main factions, and that was after the Second World War. One faction was called Arab Street and the other faction was called Arab Elites. So, and the whole purpose was to gain the endless seemingly oil supplies and other minerals in the Middle East. And for that very purpose, along with Israel, these repressive policies took birth inside in the Middle East. And because of that, there was action and reaction of different ideologies. There was different ideologies gave birth there, extremist ideologies. The same extremist ideologies then were migrated. There was an import and export of those extremist ideologies into this region. So now the mess was created there by the US. Now the mess is being created here. Once when they were fighting against USSR, and the mess was left uncontrolled. Now again this mess is being created, and then who will be responsible if this mess would lead to another mess for this region. So, I mean, it is an open reality. It is a visible reality in front of the whole world. But look at that civilized world. They keep themselves mum and silent against all these miseries, and they are responsible for this. How they can blame Muslim countries? Instead of accepting their own mistakes and their own blunders, they are, look at the sanctions against Iran. Look at the treatment against all the Muslim countries, the whole Middle East, and then look at the treatment of US, if we take our example. Instead of, so much sacrifices against the war on extremism and terrorism, we are being grinded, we are being pulverized, against this war. So they're not appreciating us. So it is an open fact. It is a testimony in front of the whole world that what they're up to. But you see, the civilized world is mum and silent. They keep themselves, it looks like they wink at these issues, and then they highlight, petty issues inside the Muslim countries. And what's the way out? The way out is that we need to further, we need to work upon that. When we say that we need to work upon that, so it means that if unilaterally it's not occurring in the best interest of any Muslim countries, we need to, make different blocks. We need to club together, and we need to, fight this menace bilaterally and, by combined efforts, by, joining hands together.
Multilaterally, rather.
Multilateral, yes. So the point is that Pakistan at the moment is in a very, Pakistan is in a good position because of, its alliance with China, because of, CPEC. So if Pakistan can enhance its economy, if it can work upon that, then Pakistan will gradually and slowly will build up its say at international level. And China as a rising star can really work upon that. It can, it can have very positive implications.
Well, you mentioned CPEC. CPEC is also going to be threatened if we have the presence of Daesh fighters,
yes,
and
absolutely.
that is going to be a major threat to the CPEC. Don't you think so, sir?
Yes, Waqas, I would say that this is a blunder which America is doing again. The first blunder, the source of all these movements and these groups is Afghan Jihad. So Afghan Jihad at the moment, the history is now proving, when we see the chronicles of all these things, Afghan Jihad proved a disaster. It has not favored anybody. It has pulverized, it has devastated the whole area. And the repercussions you are seeing in Pakistan, in India, in Afghanistan, in Iran, in China, all these, and even in Middle East. So Afghan Jihad has created a lot of problem and repercussion. Now, then they invaded Afghanistan in 2001, and trillions of money have gone, but they have not been able to stabilize Afghanistan so far. I was seeing the comparison. In 2016, there were 1,334 airstrikes, and in 2017, there are more than 4,000 strikes, airstrikes on the Afghan and terrorist elements by the American Air Force. Now, 4,000 in 2017, 4,000 Allied troops have been murdered right from 2001 till 2017. Trillions of money have gone. 25,000 of people only in 2017 have died because of the bomb blast inside Afghanistan. I am not discussing Pakistan. What America has achieved of all these blunders, and now they are relocating Daesh also, and they are creating another trouble for the region. They will be sadly mistaken, because Pakistan, Iran and all this region cannot afford now this new campaign, this new terminologies and these new dynamics. We are fed up, and Alhamdulillah, Pakistan army has been able, Pakistani people have been able to defeat this menace. And if this threat comes again, we will be able to defeat it. But we need sharing of intelligence, we need tightening our belts, we need sitting together, we need growing confidence.
How do we create harmony, sir, in our own society? Because within our society we have disharmonious elements that are probably ideologically aligned with the people from the Taliban or Daesh or any other extremist ideology or organization. How do we bring those people, sir, who are on the fringes or who are the disaffected people of our own societies to shun that kind of violence, sir?
I think it is a very vast question which you have
Yes, sir.
asked. We need investment in people. We need investment in humanity. So far Pakistan is concerned, we need educating the people. We need reforming of madaris. We need bringing more people. The millennium goals which United Nations had given to you, and they have given you another goal. Now you need 100% of the population inside the schools. You need the poverty alleviation also. You need some modernization of madaris also, and you need tolerance among the people to afford to, because the first point of education, the first point of all these grooming are tolerance.
Absolutely,
You tolerate me, I tolerate you. You listen to me, I listen to you.
Even if we disagree, sir.
Even we disagree. Disagreement is also a good thing, but the overall objective should be agreement. Agreement toward the positive goal, towards building the nation, towards peace, towards the world. Everything which we can create should be towards building and peace.
Absolutely, sir. I think that should be the mission of every media house in the country right now, is to create an environment of tolerance and harmony within the country. That should be the single-minded objective of every media organization in the country. I hope and pray that they realize that. But coming back to the topic of the Iranian warning, another very interesting development that took place from the meeting was the Iranian supreme leader has directed the Iranian judiciary to help the oppressed people of Kashmir against injustice meted out to them. That is extremely interesting. How do you view this particular development? Because it's very important to Pakistan.
Yes, I mean, it's a very positive sign for, for our cause as well, because you see, Kashmir issue is the nucleus of our foreign policy, and now at least there is a recognition from the neighboring country and the powerful neighboring country like Iran. So you see, there is a growing realization among the neighboring countries as well that at least they are recognizing and they are speaking about it now openly. So, and this we need to do a lot, against all the miseries, because this is the only way that we need to wake up these, international community that look what is happening in Kashmir. It's not about Kashmir alone, as I just mentioned in my previous comment. It's about every, wherever there are oppressed Muslims, wherever there are oppressed humanity, I would say, we need to, highlight these issues. So if it is happening, if it is coming from Iran, it's a very positive sign. And we need to work upon that, whether it's Iran or other Muslim countries as well. But the point comes back to square one, that we need to focus and we need to strengthen our economic, our foreign policy, foreign policy, whether it is with relations with Iran or with other neighboring countries, because that is the only way that if we cooperate with them, whether it's intelligence sharing or other cooperation, economic cooperation, so that would be the way that we will be taking the positive steps in the right direction, and then there will be growing realization and acceptance of whether anything happens inside Pakistan or Kashmir or on the region. So I think so it's a very positive sign, and Pakistan need to consider and need to consider all those concerns which emanate from Iran, because they have some concern as well. So if we sit together, if we talk with each other, that is the only way out.
Waqas, I will add to what my colleague has said. Thinking that peace will come just like that, it is impossible. Without addressing the real issues and the ground realities, peace in the region cannot come. So far Pakistan and India is concerned, India has to address the Kashmir issue, because it is not the matter of territory. It is not that Pakistan is helping them or Pakistan is facilitating them. It is the fate of the people, of the humanity inside. You cannot deprive the people from their voice, from their independence. So unless the Indian realizes that there is an issue and then the issue needs to be addressed, peace cannot come. If peace comes, it will not be very durable. This is number one. So far India was blaming Pakistan, that Pakistan is the epicenter, the Jaswant Singh once, that Pakistan is the epicenter of terrorism. But in this case, now India has become the center of terrorism against Kashmiris.
Absolutely,
you see,
sir.
There are guns, they are pellet guns, the people, their eyes are being taken out.
Absolutely,
The
sir.
women are being, what is being done there?
Yes, sir, we need to raise
And
our
on the
voices
other side,
against that.
Let me finish it. On the other side, between Afghanistan and Pakistan, there has to be, this trust deficit must end. We must trust each other. Afghanistan must trust Pakistan, and Pakistan must treat Afghanistan. And let's, as the chief has said yesterday, that there should be no one who can see with evil eyes from one territory towards the other territory.
Absolutely,
And
sir.
that is the real issue. If we start doing that, things will be over.
Inshallah, sir, we will achieve our goals with collective effort and cooperation. Thank you very much for taking out the time and sharing your views with PTV World. Well, before we end the program, we also talked about how climate change is impacting Pakistan, and it is a very, very worrying situation. We are losing water at a rapid rate. We are not conserving our water. We don't have a coherent water policy anywhere to be seen. We have Shakil Rame with us to comment on the situation and how things are getting from bad to worse day by day. Shakil Saab, thank you for joining me. Shakil Saab, we also hear reports of the mercury reaching almost 50 degrees in Karachi in the coming days. How do you see this development, and what are we doing really to mitigate the effects of climate change in Pakistan?
The first thing is to definitely touch that level. The point is the only one way we can combat this challenge is to go for the forestation, to plant the more trees. And we have to control the population concentration in the big cities. What we're doing the contrary. We are going on the opposite side. So the thing we must have to do right now is to create new economic centers to divert the attention from the big cities. Right now in Karachi, we must have to take care of emergency measures. These are the emergency measures. For a sustainable basis, we need to plant more trees. We need to have more policies which create space for the open grounds and for the open forest areas. These are the things. Otherwise, in the concrete, the impact would be very worse. One thing, and second thing, the other issue of Karachi is water, which you were talking about, the water policy. The water policy of the water, unfortunately, it has been victim of the political parties' point scoring. Nobody is talking about the water as a commodity, water as a need, but water as a life. Like you know that 84% of water is being given to Pakistan in the 3 months. And the rest of the years we have to survive on that water. But we don't have the dams, we don't have the reservoirs, we don't have anything like that to store the water at the large scale. Then we start blame gaming. What we are witnessing from the other provinces right now, Punjab is taking water, Sindh is saying like that, Ihsan is not giving water. But the reality is that at this point of time, this year, the availability of water is 50% less due to these different reasons. But one of the reasons is also climate change and environmental degradation. So the thing is that the situation is very complicated. I cannot tell you in the 2 minutes what should be really done. There is a comprehensive, we need a comprehensive plan. But immediate
We need
measures are needed.
a new, totally different program on this issue entirely. I think I agree with you there, sir. Well, thank you very much, Ramesa, for taking out the time and sharing your views with PTV World. Well, you heard the conversation, and in the end, we always say, please draw your own conclusions from what you've heard. And on that note, it's goodbye.